Sorry, guys, I was having some technical difficulties, but thank you for your patience. We are now joined by midfielder Jackson Ewell. Let's go ahead and get started with a question from Alicia Rodriguez.
Thank you. Jackson, welcome back to the team. Obviously, congratulations on the Nations League win. I wanted to ask you about that off the top. What was the experience like in getting to lift a trophy with the senior national team? What was the experience, and what do you take away from that experience of doing that?
Yeah, it was a special trip. It was really good to be with the guys again, and of course, win the tournament. It's been a long term. I think started back in like 2019, and so happy that we were able to come away and win in such an important environment and against a really, really good team. And it shows the growth that U.S. is having, and the quality of players in that group to be able to compete and play at that level. And yeah, I think it's just seeing just the different type of play, different type of environment that CONCACAF shows. And yeah, for myself, I'm really pleased with how it went, and looking forward to being back here in San Jose and bringing what I kind of saw there back here.
Thank you, Jackson. Next question from Jamin Moore.
Hey, Jackson. Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
the Nations League trophy there. I'd like to ask you another question about the national team experience, too. Bear with me a little bit on this one. Greg Berhalter, at least from my perception, handles his sixes a bit differently than maybe other coaches do. Will Trapp was someone that he relied on in Columbus, and no one would say Will Trapp is a classic defensive midfielder. And I think a lot of people would probably say the same thing about you. You bring a different set of skills, maybe similar to Trapp's in some ways. Can you give us a little bit more about, from Greg, like what are his instructions for you when you play in that kind of single pivot situation? What are his kind of expectations? And how do you kind of gauge yourself, and how does Greg gauge you in terms of your performances? Thank you.
Yeah, I think that role in that position is crucial for that system. It's heavily relied upon to kind of link the back line into the offensive line. You see a lot of movement in that position, and Greg emphasizes that he wants a whole team that can run the entire game, and can high press and can pass the ball. And so the mobility of the six, I think, is really crucial for that system, and being able to find passes in between lines and going forward is a big emphasis that the whole staff has. And I think there's a lot of good players that can play in behind the line and get in behind, and it's the kind of the role of that position to find the forwards and start creating the chances to lead forward. And then on the defensive aspect, to be aggressive, to be able to press, to be able to be mobile and cover a lot of ground is very crucial. And so Greg has worked a lot with a lot of the guys and the whole team and getting the right kind of system and the way we want to play down. And I think all the guys are kind of bought into it, and it requires sacrifice to really move and defend and press. And yeah, it kind of starts in that role of being ready and defending well, and moving up into spaces that you need to. So yeah, it's similar to this role as well. Here in San Jose, it requires a lot of intensity and fitness, and I think I fit in that role well.
Thank you, Jackson. Next question from Alex Morgan.
Hi, Jackson. It's good to speak with you, and congratulations on winning the tournament, of course. I'm curious if you spoke at all with Greg Berhalter and that coaching team about what they'd like to see from you in San Jose to keep getting those call-ups and keep improving? And whether you've also spoken with them about your future and possibly moving to Europe in the future.
Yeah, I think in San Jose, the coach is Matthias, and he wants me to play a certain way, and to there's similar philosophies in the work rate and the intensity, but the styles are a lot different. Of course, you have to perform at the club level to play at the national team level, but so the message is just keep going, keep working hard, keep improving. Always look to better yourself and improve and help your team win, because that translates into the national team. And so there's things that driving with the ball, and that I still want to work on here with Matthias and the final third of play that helps stay with the national team and improve. But right now it's about playing these games with San Jose and trying to get us back to the top of the table.
Thank you, Jackson. I'm going to take 3 more questions, starting with John Rojas.
Thanks, Jake. Jackson, a little bit on that transition to tactically. What's easier to adapt to? I mean, going from the philosophy and the concepts of San Jose to the national team, or maybe coming back? And what is the key to adapt to them and make the click as soon as you get to one or the other?
I think they're both very different yet very similar. I think the fitness level and the intensity is very similar in both, but of course, like, the tactics are much different. I think you're more position oriented with the national team, and understanding those spaces and where you're supposed to be at the right moments takes some time. And I think my first couple of camps with the national team, it was hard to adapt. But I think the more and more that I'm with them, and the more and more I work with Greg and the rest of the staff, it's easier to switch between the two. And then of course here, it's more man oriented, and being close to your marks and kind of the aggressive defending aspect of it. So I think at the beginning it was challenging to do both, to go back and forth and to try to switch, but I think both coaching staffs have helped a lot in the transition period of doing that, and I enjoy playing both systems because the staff teaches it really well to the rest of the team, and the team is really bought in, and when that happens, it's easy to kind of slide in and change and play your best.
Thank you. Next question from Alicia Rodriguez.
Thanks again. Jackson, wanted to ask you about the upcoming game against Austin FC. Obviously, you guys are going to be opening the stadium. In some ways, you get the national spotlight for that match, but in other ways, you're sort of there to play the spoilers or something of the like. So how are you approaching the game, and how are you approaching that kind of the spotlight and the role as the other team, I guess, for Austin FC's opening?
Yeah, we're excited. I think it'll be my first time ever opening a stadium, and even though it's away, I think it'll be a really cool moment and a great game. We're looking forward to, even though if they're not our fans, playing with fans again, and going to try to ruin the party, I guess. But we're excited to be back. It's a little bit of a break here, and we struggled a little bit beforehand, but the team looks really good, and they're working hard, and we're excited to kind of get back on the field and bounce back after a couple tough matches that we've had. But so we're trying to respond on these road games, and it starts with Austin, and we're ready to play.
Thank you, Jackson. One final question from Jamin Moore.
Hey, Jackson. So whether you're playing national team or whether you're with the Quakes, it seems there's one common theme this year, which is to try to mark you out as teams are trying to press you and play out of the back. Obviously, that has potential advantages and disadvantages depending upon how the team handles the situation. But do you see any tactical flexibility or changes that Matthias may want to implement in order to kind of give you guys better numbers when you're playing against those types of man presses? This seems to be kind of just a common theme this year, at least from our perspective, and interested in your take if you think that there's ways that you guys can maybe get better numbers to play out. Thanks.
Yeah, you know, we've been working with a few different ideas of, you know, building up from goalkeeper and trying to, you know, open up the play more to get better opportunities to score. I think we've had a lot of possession and some chances, but, you know, we kind of lack some quality chances and some really clear goal scoring chances. And you know, we've been working on, you know, having, you know, extra people around the ball, trying to get more runs in behind, trying to find those right passes, and it comes from everyone, and it starts with JT and the goalkeepers, and, you know, trying to find the right way of, you know, building it up through the midfield, trying to include the width, and then, you know, getting opportunities in the box. And so you know, we've learned a lot from the recent defeats, and you know, I think teams have stepped high and sat back, and those are two things that we've been trying to break down in training. And you know, it involves, you know, more movement and you know, kind of you know, trying to spread out the defense as much as possible and find the open man. And so whether you know, someone's covered or not, you know, the focus is to find the free player and you know, try to use our dynamic speed and you know, style of play to really break down teams and start creating more chances.